Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos. So just going to give you my match reaction on the Manchester United Rochdale game that ended 1-1 yesterday evening, but Manchester United scraped through 5-3 on penalties, so we just scraped past League One side, and Rochdale are actually now sitting 17th in League One. We do know, obviously, now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had made alterations in the squad. Obviously, we do know Paul Pogba now has regained full fitness. We do know that Marshall and Luke Shaw weren't involved yesterday evening. Hopefully, they can back. For the Arsenal game next Monday, and that's obviously not going to be a very big game for Manchester United. But again, yesterday evening, another abysmal performance from Manchester United. I think the vast majority of the players, underperformed. I thought Lingard, was actually, the worst player on the pitch, in my opinion. Obviously, Lingard has enjoyed a really bad start to this season, and I think reflects on his status at the football club and that, he should be performing much better. And I think Lingard is on around 100 grand a week. Mason Greenwood, I thought, he was the best player on the pitch yesterday evening. He did get our goal, which was very good. That's now 2 goals in two first team starts for Mason Greenwood. And like I did say, I think is a much better solution than Marcus Rashford is Mason Greenwood. And I think he should be selected for the game against Arsenal. But actually, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say if he is to keep the consistency up, he will be. Solskjaer did say he will be assured more minutes under his belt. But yeah, I think he can become a success at Manchester United. Maybe some of the young players may not become a success, so maybe that is an element of concern. I don't think Chon was too good yesterday. I think he was a bit below par. Maybe some people believe maybe him and maybe some other young upcoming players need to be loaned down, because in that aspect, obviously, where they will gain more experience in that. Obviously, don't forget Chon earlier on in the summer. Obviously, PSV inquired about getting him on loan. Fernand had inquired about getting him on loan. But obviously, he's remaining. I think he's remaining at Manchester United at least for this season. Is Chong. Reports emerged out the other week saying that he was in negotiations with the football club over a new contract. But I think actually this is a good statistic. I think Mason Greenwood actually had the most chances for Manchester United. But now I would select Mason Greenwood on a regular basis. Fred, obviously, he started in the game yesterday evening. I don't think he was too good yesterday evening, Fred, because quite recently, Fred has been in pretty decent form, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, he wasn't too good. I think Phil Jones was quite poor. Obviously, Phil Jones, this is making his second appearance for the club this season. He wasn't he wasn't that good either. Rojo, to be quite fair, didn't play bad. Obviously, Rojo was playing at left back position. So yeah, quite a lot of the players, did underperform, to be quite honest. I don't think Wan-Bissaka, was potentially, at his best yesterday. But all that matters is, we are in the fourth round and that. But yeah, it was an abysmal performance by Manchester United. And obviously now you've got, the vast majority of Manchester United fans, demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the football club. I'm not one of those fans, I'm still, backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all the way. Like I did say, the club have got to give Solskjaer time, to make further more investment in January and perhaps next summer, because definitely you can still see the deficiencies in the squad. And like I did say to you, I do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in certain aspects. He's got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players. He also got rid of a lot of the deadwood, throughout the course of the summer. And he did recommend, 3 good players into the squad, during the summer. We spent over £140 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and of course on Harry Maguire. And we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far. And it's good that we've addressed some of the problematic areas, throughout the course of the summer. We've got that experienced centre half in. We also got that right back in, but we didn't address all the problematic areas in that. So obviously, that's an element of concern. But I did say it was going to be hard for us to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window and that. I think Rochdale's actual equaliser was from a 16-year-old called Luke Matheson. He actually equalised there for Rochdale. But the game actually was similar to the game last season, the Carabao Cup against Derby. The only difference is this time we didn't go out in that. But last season we actually did go out to Derby 8-7 on penalties. But yeah, hopefully, I'm still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all the way. And like I did say, he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United squad. Now, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, these question marks, these question marks around him, his tactics are questionable and that. I think we are tactically inept, if I'm going to be quite honest. The personnel seems to be there, but, we are tactically inept. But like I did say, due to our inconsistency, I said, you can't only blame, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Don't get me wrong, some of the blame does stem from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think the blame stems from it all, basically, but I think the vast majority of the blame, stems from the board, because the board weren't ruthless enough, throughout the course of the summer. They didn't get all the signings, they didn't recommend all the players in that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted to get in and that, but the board did assure that it would have been back, throughout the course of the summer. I also believe that some of the blame stems from Ed Woodward, because obviously Ed Woodward, he's the vice chairman, and he obviously he's our transfer business. Obviously some of the blame also stems from the team as well. They have to take a responsibility on the pitch, despite the fact that a lot of players have left. Since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, I still believe these problematic players at the football club. Yeah, so I think also we need to get rid of more players in January and next summer. But like I was saying, Solskjaer's our fourth permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. I don't want him to be sacked. I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot, and like I said, we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. We're not really known for a sacking football club, despite the fact that 3 managers have already been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era, and that have had different managers with different philosophies. But I haven't really seen any improvements under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Than what I saw under Mourinho, Van Gaal, and of course David Moyes. So yeah, the vast majority of Manchester United fans now, do want him out with the football club. And like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was a great long-serving player for the football club. He served 11 years at Manchester United. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance in that. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got that proven pedigree as a player, but he hasn't really got it as a manager. He hasn't really got that managerial experience in that. Obviously, he won a couple when he was at Molde. He won a couple of Norwegian titles. Obviously, he managed Cardiff. He only had a short tenure with Cardiff, did Solskjaer. But Solskjaer's been at Manchester United now around 9 or 10 months. Obviously, he's been here since December of last year. Obviously, we recommended him in, following the dismissal of Jose Mourinho. And obviously Solskjaer came in as interim manager at the football club. He was interim manager for 3 months, and in that 3-month period, he did really, really well. The results were good, the performances were good, and he was getting the best out of these group of players, and he exceeded expectations. But since he got the job, in March earlier on this year, everything has just seemed to have all gone wrong, basically. So I think if this bad run of form does continue to persist, the vast majority of Manchester United fans, believe, he could be gone by Christmas. I think a lot of industries, believe Solskjaer, could be gone by Christmas and that, because this is not good enough. Because, if this bad run of form does continue to persist, we could then enjoy a worse season this season than what we saw last season. Because, last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. Obviously, we failed to qualify for the Champions League. I did say in that aspect, that went against us in the summer transfer window, because obviously, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League, a lot of players, would have had reservations about joining the football club. But yeah, I think we definitely need at least one midfielder in, maybe even 2, because that midfield area is one of the priority areas, where Manchester United do need to strengthen up. Don't forget, throughout the course of the summer, was in search for right winger. But yeah, I think we need to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at least a couple of more windows, because I think the board did assure at the start of the season that regardless of what happens this season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should be at Manchester United at least for this season. That because the board did realise that they didn't back him enough throughout the course of the summer. Don't forget as well, it wasn't only this summer transfer window we wasn't competitive enough. I think in the last 3 to 4 transfer windows, we haven't been competitive enough, because we didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, reflecting back last summer under the Jose Mourinho, we didn't get our number one tags and that, so we just haven't been ruthless enough in the current transfer windows. But I did initially say, at the start of this season that I said it towards the back end of last season, our expectations this season, will be to get into that top four. So obviously, we can get back into the Champions League and perhaps win some silverware in that. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got to exceed these expectations and that. And, obviously, we have got big ambitions for the future. And obviously, that's to get back to being competitive and start winning silverware and that. And this is obviously, something Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does want to bring back to the football club. And I know, the vast majority of people now have got doubts about that. The fear factor, or the that fear factor or that winning mentality in that hasn't been at Manchester United, since the Alex Ferguson era. But like I said, of what the games I've seen so far this season, we have played 8 games now in all competitions this season, 6 in the league and 2 in the cup. I think of what I've seen this season is replicating, what I saw last season. And what I mean in that aspect is, I haven't really seen much improvements. You could maybe pinpoint some games out this season, that arguably, Manchester United, should have won. I think we should have won at Wolves away. That was a game Man United should have won in. We maybe should have won at Southampton away. We should have definitely won against Crystal Palace at home. Obviously, in that particular game, we created a lot of chances. We had over 20 odd shots. We had the majority of the possession and that. So the games this season that Man United should have arguably won. And like I said, we are creating chances and that. We do seem to create a lot of chances, but we're just not being clinical enough in front of goal. And obviously, that is a concern if I'm going to be quite honest. We've not been clinical enough in front of goal and that, so we don't basically don't seem to have that clinical element. And this season I think we've only scored 10 goals in 8 games in all competitions. 10 goals that's all Manchester United have scored, and that is actually atrocious to be quite honest. But last season in the Premier League, we only managed 53 goals. But for me, we're lacking leadership in the team. I think we need to get someone in that is better at taking set pieces. But I just think there's certain players here that don't want to play for the football club. I think we need to get players in, that are going to fit the culture of the club, and that are going. And I think we need to, get players in, who are going to, play for the shirt and that. And the majority of our players at the moment just seem to be like they don't care. To be quite honest with you. But yeah, so in the Premier League so far, we've only registered 8 points from 6 games, and we know that's nowhere near good enough to our current standards. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't going to last at Manchester United. I did say I hope his tenure can become successful in that, because I do love him a lot, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And our away form's been really, really bad. We haven't won away from home since the PSG game last season. Obviously, when we did produce that miraculous comeback in the Champions League. Obviously, that's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as manager in that. It was a very, very disappointing. It was good that we got through. At least we got through in that. That's the positive. But the performance was absolutely atrocious. And I expected more from Manchester United. I thought we would have won that game comfortably. To be quite honest with you. But it just shows, how far we are behind at the moment. And like I did say, reflecting on the amount of money that's been spent at Manchester United in the last 6 or 7 years, and with with the history of this football club and that, we should be much more of a commanding position than we're in. But yeah, for me, I'm still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think we do need to give him a couple of more transfer windows, to see who he can recommend to the football club. And I did say anyway, didn't I, on my video the other week, that the board, they've got to assure structural changes. We do need to see structural changes at the football club and that. Don't forget, throughout the course of summer, we was in search for a new director of football and that. And I did say, you could arguably say maybe if we'd got that director of football in at the beginning of the summer, or maybe midway through the summer, then maybe in that aspect, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been backed more. I think it did say the other week that Ed Woodward, is still in search for a new director of football. At Manchester United and that. So I do believe that's one of the structural changes we do need in the football club. But Solskjaer is already making plans for the January transfer window. I think so too. Is Ed Woodward. Obviously, I think Solskjaer's confirmed. He is sticking to the same policy of signing young British players. he's sticking to the policy of signing young British players, because obviously this is what he did, throughout the course of the summer. Obviously, that's what his transfer strategy, was. That's obviously, what his transfer strategy was, and that. But yeah, just to give you an update as well, Manchester United have drawn Chelsea in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup. It is at Stamford Bridge, and I think a lot of people have a negative, very, very negative, should I say, going into that game. Chelsea themselves, they haven't enjoyed a great start to this season. Obviously, they progressed to the fourth round, by beating Grimsby, comfortably by 7 goals to 1. And I've got huge doubts about the game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the Carabao Cup. Obviously, our record anywhere at Stamford Bridge is very, very bad. We haven't won there in the league, Premier League since 2012. So that's around what 7 years ago now. We actually beat them at Stamford Bridge last season in the FA Cup by 2-0. Obviously, we thrashed them 4-0 on the opening day of the Premier League season. And I don't think Solskjaer's going to last at Man United. Maybe Frank Lampard, won't last there with Chelsea, because, Lampard's, I think he's compatible, to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that, he hasn't really got the experience of a manager. Lampard, actually Solskjaer's more experienced, because Lampard, only started in management last season, I think, with Derby. Obviously, he did get Derby to the playoff final and that, but Chelsea have enjoyed a pretty bad start to this season. Obviously, Lampard, like I said, he was a great long-serving player for Chelsea. I think he said around 13 years with them. Obviously, their all-time, record leading goal scorer, but I just don't know if he's got, the abilities in that, to succeed as a manager, Frank Lampard. And that. Obviously, Chelsea did get rid of Maurizio Sarri earlier on in the summer, despite the fact that Chelsea did win the Europa League last season. They also progressed, to the Carabao Cup final. But so it's going to be a very, very difficult game. I think one of the most iconic matches, between Man United and Chelsea, obviously, was back in 2008 in the Champions League final at Moscow, when obviously, we did miss when we did win on penalties. Also, this was a remarkable match between Man United and Chelsea. This was back in the Carling Cup. I think it was I think it was around 7 years ago now. It did end 5-4 to Chelsea. I think Chelsea did win the game after extra time. So over the years, there has been, good affairs, between Manchester United and Chelsea. But yeah, it is going to be a very, very difficult game. But I just can't see, Manchester United winning it, to be quite honest with you. I saw some of the other draws as well. I think, obviously Liverpool got drawn against Arsenal. That's going to be a good tie. I think City did get drawn at home to Southampton. I haven't actually, that's the only draws I've seen. I didn't see the other ones. I'm not too sure when the Chelsea match is played. Is it sometime in October? I will have to, currently look it up. But yeah, like I said, Man United, the style of players is atrocious. I think there's been cultural problems as well at the football club in the last 6 or 7 years or so. And like I said, what we're going to do to fix this, what we're going to do, are we going to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Are we going to recommend someone else in? We need to get rid of more players? Does Ed Woodward need to go? What do we need to do at Manchester United, to start getting things right? And like I updated you yesterday morning, it did say, a lot of reports were stemming from Italy yesterday morning. Well, it was most recently, anywhere, saying that, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is to be sacked by Manchester United, we have made, Massimiliano Allegri, who is obviously, the former Juventus manager, as our primary candidate to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United. Now, Massimiliano Allegri, obviously, the majority of his silver he won as manager, obviously, came at Juventus. He did serve 5 years with Juventus, and that. He's actually spent the entirety of his managerial career in Italy, and that. Obviously, he started off managing a few, smaller Italian teams, and that. Obviously, before he was at Juventus, I think he actually managed AC Milan for a good 4 years. He also managed Cagliari for a couple of years. I think he also managed Saluzzo, and he actually spent the entirety of his playing playing career in Italy, did Massimiliano Allegri, but do you think he would be, the right manager for Manchester United, to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? But like I said, us getting rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now, I don't think that will solve the problems in that, because not all the blame, does stem from him, But don't forget, before we recommended Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in to the football club, after Jose Mourinho sacking this is before Solskjaer got recommended in. Was he? Don't forget, Pochettino was the primary candidate to, come to Manchester United. He was linked with a managerial role for a while. Don't forget there was talks about Zinedine Zidane coming in. But I did say at the time, I think the only way they would have come in is if we would have showed them, if we'd have showed either of them, to be given a substantial amount to spend in that. And obviously at the time we was in for Pochettino, he did say, would have had to pay a commission of from between 35, to 40 million pounds and that. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was our preference, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows the club inside out, and also, he was a cheaper solution. But, I don't think he's going to succeed in management at Manchester United, to be quite honest with you. But like I did say, no one, we're never going to, regardless who our manager is, we're never going to replicate, what we did under Ferguson. No one is going to ever, follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. And you take into account, Ferguson, didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United. Don't forget, he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. He got appointed in from Aberdeen, was it, back in 1985, 1984, 1985, it was one of them. And he didn't win out in his first 4 years. And at that time, he was on the verge of getting the sack, was Alex Ferguson, but he didn't. And then look what he accomplished. We had 20 odd years of success under him. But yeah, no, we're never going to be the team that was under Alex Ferguson. And I did initially say, I'm hopeful that this team now, at this day and age, can replicate, what the team did under Alex Ferguson. But, I've got huge doubts about it. But yeah, I'm still not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. I'm still backing him and that. But I think, he could actually, be gone by Christmas, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Like I said, we have got a lot of young players in the squad. We've also got a lot of experienced players. I think some of the young players, maybe we could orchestrate on loaning some of them out and that, to get them a bit more experience. So maybe we could consider loaning Chon out. Alex Tuanzebe, he played yesterday. He did initially say anyway, he's going to be a big part of the squad this season. Is Alex Tuanzebe. And he's actually preferred position as a centre back, but he can also, play as a right back. Like I said, it was good to see Sergio Romero in goal yesterday. Obviously, Sergio Romero is obviously going to get the opportunities in the cup games and the Europa League and that, because obviously he's got the experience in that aspect. But yeah, definitely, he rested some imperative players. Did Solskjaer, obviously, for the big game against Arsenal next week. Obviously, I'm surprised that Wan-Bissaka wasn't rested. I thought, he would have been rested, for the game yesterday, but he did play. Obviously, there was no Lindelof, playing yesterday. There was no Harry Maguire in that. Obviously, there was no Daniel James. So he did rest certain players, which was very, very good. But like I said, guys, there is definitely more players that do need to leave the football club. There's definitely more players that need to leave without a shadow of a doubt. We know that around 7 players that have now left, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. And obviously, Italy's been a popular destination for the vast majority of our players that have left this summer. Obviously, Darmian, he went to Italy. He made a return back to Italy. I think we let him go for just over £1 million, was it? I wasn't surprised, that Darmian left the football club, because he was surplus to requirements at Manchester United anyway, and he was at the club around 4 years. But I'm not surprised he left. I'm surprised of how much we let him go for, basically. And we're well known for doing that. We've done it in recent years. Like I said, there's been prime examples of it this summer. We overpay for players. Then when it comes to letting them go, we let them go for next to nothing. We did it with Darmian. We even did it with Ander Herrera. We paid £29 million for Ander Herrera back in 2014 from Bilbao. Herrera had 5 great years at Manchester United, and then early on this summer we let his contract run down and we let him go to PSG on a free transfer. We let him go to PSG on a free transfer and that. And it was a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement anywhere in that midfield. We needed a replacement for Herrera and Marion Fellaini. Fellaini, as you all know, left back in January. He went to China back in January, did Marion Fellaini. But he actually, served 6 years with the football club. So Fellaini was another long-serving player. Some people may believe it was a mistake of us, getting rid of Romelu Lukaku. Now, obviously, Lukaku basically, well, he had to go, as we all know, and now I haven't really, since he's left Manchester United, gone to Inter Milan, I haven't really watched him at Inter Milan, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, but I do believe he'll probably, be doing well over Inter Milan. Obviously he fell down the pecking order, at Manchester United and all that, and this obviously led to him leaving the football club, and obviously we confirmed that Rashford was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice, over Romelu Lukaku. But Lukaku, to be fair, he had 2 good seasons at the football club. Did Romelu Lukaku. He had 2 good seasons at the football club. He did really, really well in his first season. He was exceptional in his first season was Lukaku, but, didn't really replicate that in his second season. Lukaku at Man United scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions and that. But you can pinpoint out, some games that, Lukaku, helped Man United a lot. He scored 2 goals, in quite a few games as well. I think, I think against PSG, didn't he score 2 goals last season, if I can remember rightly? I think last season against Crystal Palace, Lukaku had scored 2 goals, I think, at home to Southampton last season. He scored 2 goals there as well. So maybe some people believe it's a mistake, getting rid of him and that. But yeah, we need to find an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku anywhere. But also Sanchez, don't forget, he went to Inter Milan, with Lukaku. So obviously in that aspect, they have reunited. So people now do believe with the dismissal of Lukaku and Sanchez, we are short in our in that attacking line. We are short in that attacking line. Obviously, Smalling, don't forget, he's been loaned out to Roma, as that got confirmed. We let him go for just under £3 million on loan. Obviously, as you all know, there's no obligation to buy. So Roma can't make the deal next summer and that. But yeah, Smalling, he was another long-serving player at Manchester United. He actually served 9 years at the football club, so he nearly served 10 years at Manchester United and that. So yeah, and a couple of goalkeepers, as you all know, have been loaned out. Dean Henson got loaned out to Sheffield United. Credit. I think it's good in that aspect because he's going to gain more experience. Is Dean Henderson. Obviously, Sergio Romero has been loaned. Not Sergio Romero, Joe Pereira, has been loaned out to Hearts in Scotland for the current season and that. But yeah, I've already said to you, I think, the problematic players at the football club, I think Phil Jones, he's no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. I think Phil Jones, needs to be moved on in January or next summer. And obviously Manchester United can try and cash in for him. Don't forget Jones signed a new long-term contract last season. But yeah, another long-term player with the club. I think Jones is now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. Like I said, in the cup games and that, he will get his chances, Will Jones. But either way, I just don't think he's good enough, to represent the football club. Like I said with Marcus Rojo, he was quite impressive yesterday. Like I said, he was playing at that left back position. Like I said to you, his versatility is very, very good. He can play in various positions in that back line, can Rojo. But don't forget, Rojo was subjected to transfer speculation earlier on in the summer. Or don't forget, Everton had inquired about, getting him on deadline day. Obviously, I think the likes of Marcelo, Monaco and AC Milan also inquired about getting Rojo. Rojo's just got under 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United. But yeah, we could try and cash in for him in January or next summer. But I still believe he's one of the problematic players at the football club. So yeah, maybe he's another player, that does need to go. In regards to Eric Bailly, now we do know Eric Bailly is got a knee injury. He's out I think until the end of December or the new year. Obviously he had sustained this knee injury throughout pre-season with Eric Bailly. But like I said, I think he's a player that Man United could consider getting rid of in the future. If the right offer, if the right suitable offer came in for Eric Bailly, I think we would consider offloading. Probably we would look to at least recoup the £30 million that we did pay for him from Villarreal back in 2016 and that. But I think Eric Bailly, is just too injury prone. Don't get him wrong, when he's fully fit, he's got great potential and, when he holds his line well. But, it's reflected on his injuries basically. That's mainly affected his Manchester United career. And Ashley Young, obviously, he's been at the football club 8 years. He's now into his 9th season as a Man United player. We know he didn't play yesterday evening, but obviously in the last couple of league games at least, he has been playing on a regular basis, mainly due to the absence of Luke Shaw. He has been mainly, fulfilling Luke Shaw's role, obviously now at that left back position. But Young has passed his sell-by date. Obviously, that's reflected on his age. Young's 34. I think he's 35 next year, if I'm right. Don't forget, we did give Young a new 1 year extension last season. Matic, he's another problematic player. Obviously, Matic, didn't play yesterday. As you all know, he didn't play yesterday. Matic didn't play yesterday, and I have got so many concerns about Nemanja Matic, and I think he needs to be moved on in January or next summer. Matic, of course, has got under a year left on his contract, so that means his current contract expires at the end of the season. But we do have have an option to extend it by a further year, and I think Matic this season is infuriated with his lack of playing time. We do know he's been playing recently, in the league, and that obviously due to the absence of Paul Pogba, but now obviously Paul Pogba's regained full fitness and he's back. Then obviously now Matic is going to find it very, very hard, to get in the team, because he didn't. I think he's initially lost his place in the team, to Scott McTominay as Nemanja Matic. But Matic, he's too slow. He makes that midfield look totally imbalanced, and he's now 31 years of age, and now Matic is into his 3rd season as a Manchester United player. Obviously, he's made around 90 appearances for the club in all competitions. 67 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. But like I said, I was reading a lot of reports the other week, and it said up to 4 clubs were interested in getting Matic on a free transfer at the end of the season. He said reportedly Juventus, AC Milan, Inter Milan, and Borussia Dortmund were interested in getting Nemanja Matic. We overpaid for him. We paid 35 million up front for him, with 5 million in add-ons included, which did potentially rise it up to around 40 million pounds. But yeah, he's another problematic player at the football club. But like I said, these more players that need to go. But I think despite our bad start to the season, definitely Man United is still back on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ed Woodward, remains convinced that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, can still turn things around at the football club and that. So that's Ed Woodward say on the situation at the moment. And yeah, but I think, despite our bad start to the season, I still think there's certain players, that have, played quite well for Man United. Like I said, I think Daniel James, Emerson Jordan, very, very good start to his Man United career, and that, Daniel James has been absolutely fantastic for the club. I think he scored 3 goals so far this season. And like I said with Daniel James, he's taken a huge step in his career, coming all the way from the Championship to the Premier League. And if he does keep this consistency up, like I said, his, valuation will persistently grow, where will Daniel James is. And Wan-Bissaka has been mainly impressive. He wasn't too good yesterday, but I think, apart from prior to that, I think he's been fantastic so far this season. Obviously, he's our first choice right back, and I think, Wan-Bissaka, his distribution's good, he shows that ability to play out from the back. Don't forget, Wan-Bissaka and Daniel James both made their senior debuts back in February 2018, which was obviously only last year, but they are both only 21 years of age. And I think Harry Maguire is mainly settled in at the football club. I think him and Lindelof are complementing each other very, very well in our back line. Harry Maguire, I do believe a lot of... Obviously, sorry about that. The vast majority of Man United fans, believe that we did overpay for Harry Maguire, and I do agree we did overpay for Harry Maguire in that. Obviously, £80 million. Obviously, he's the most expensive defender in the world. He's the second most expensive signing at the football club, just behind Paul Pogba and that. But I think, we might have overpaid for him, but I still think, he's going to succeed as a Manchester United player and that. Like I said, I think McTominay's had a great start to this season. I know he didn't play yesterday, but I think in the games he has played in this season, McTominay has really, really stepped up to the plate. Mainly this season, he has been playing alongside Pogba in that midfield, but in the last couple of league games and that, he has been playing alongside Matic as McTominay. But I think McTominay has done really, really well. These question marks around him, can he keep the consistency up, of him? In regards to him being a long-term solution for Man United, I have, got element of concerns about that. But he's only 22, and of course, he's still developing. So McTominay, has done really really well for the football club this season. But he did well towards the back end of last season. Angel Gomez, obviously, he did initially say, he's going to be a big part of the squad this season. Obviously, didn't play yesterday. Who else has played well? Yeah, so quite a lot. There's quite a few, that have played quite well. Obviously, we have still got quite a few imperative players out of injury. Don't forget, Marshall and Luke Shaw, I think they've missed the last 4 or 5 games now in all competitions with injury. Don't forget Anthony Marshall's out with a thigh injury. And I think before he sustained his injury, he also enjoyed a great start to the season. That, if I do keep saying, if Marshall now can, avoid sustaining any more injuries, he can keep his good performances up. He can keep the consistency up, and that I think Martial, can score a lot of goals for Man United this season. And I think a lot of things have improved about his game. He's got that finishing assets. He seems to be getting more than runs in behind now. Martial now is into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. I think he's scored 50 goals for the club in all competitions. Don't forget he scored his 50th goal earlier on in the season against Wolves and all that. And don't forget we give Martial a new 5-year contract back in January. And he's only 23 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him as Anthony Martial. Don't forget at the start of the season it confirmed, he has been given that number 9 shirt as Martial. So obviously he's playing more central this season because he seems to be more effective in that central position, does Anthony Martial, and that. But they are compatible in that aspect of Martial and Rashford because they can both play centrally, they can both play out wide. Actually, Martial primarily plays off the left, but for me, he's more of a standout player in that central position. Like I said, with Luke Shaw, he's got a hamstring injury. I'm hopeful that, he can be back for Arsenal, Luke Shaw. Obviously, Luke Shaw is a very, very imperative player. He is our first choice left back. Luke Shaw's been quite a long servant now. He's now, I think, into his 5th season at Manchester United. Analysing the majority of his career, I think he's been mainly consistent. He's had some rough patches. He had a bad spell under Mourinho. Luke Shaw has sustained quite a few injuries as a Man United player, but I think prior to this, I think he's done really, really well for the club. Don't forget he won the double player of the season last season. Luke Shaw reflecting on his impressive performances. Rashford, as you all know, is out with a groin injury. I need to look a bit more into it. I don't know how severe the injury is. He obviously came off in the 2-0 defeat to West Ham last weekend. With this groin injury, did Marcus Rashford. And I think a lot of people believe that actually, Marcus Rashford, seems to be overrated and that, Rashford, hasn't been to his best this season. He's done okay in parts this season, but, he has been below par in a lot of his games and that, and he's replicated Rashford what he did towards the back end of last season. He wasn't so good towards the back end of last season. He did well throughout pre-season, but, I think prior to the Chelsea game and that, I think he did well in the Chelsea game, Rashford, on the opening day of the season, but I think prior to that, since then, Rashford has really, really struggled. He obviously missed a penalty as well against Palace earlier on in the season, but like I said in the video earlier on, I think Mason Greenwood is a much better option than Marcus Rashford, in my opinion. Well, at this present time, anyway, because I think by the time, as Mason Greenwood's continues developing, by the time he's 23, 24, I think he can be a world-class centre-forward, for Manchester United, if I'm going to be quite honest. So I've got a lot of, I think he's very, very reliable. I think Mason Greenwood, can succeed in Man United. Maybe I haven't got the same thoughts, about certain other, young upcoming players, certain ones, maybe it may be only Mason Greenwood that turns out where the success in that. Chong, maybe I've got a slight element of concern about him. Maybe Alex Twanzebe, I think, he could become a success at the football club as well. Yeah. But like I did say, look at the amount of money, that's been spent at Manchester United, over the years, over £140 million, spent this summer under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, just under £400 million was spent under Mourinho. Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. Obviously, over £200 million was spent under Van Gaal. He brought a lot of players in, obviously, but a lot of them have now left. Around £67 million was spent under David Moyes. So we've spent around nearly £900 million in the last 6 or 7 years in all the managerial eras, including what's been spent this summer under Solskjaer. And obviously, like I've just said, we've spent nearly £900 million. That doesn't take into account anyway, what was spent under Alex Ferguson. If you want to take into account what was spent under Ferguson, we've spent way over £1 billion pounds on players. We've also now, got players on big contracts with the football club, as you all do know. Yeah, and the news in regards to Paul Pogba and that, I think he's still considering leaving the football club in January or next summer, and that. I still think he wants out of Manchester United. Obviously throughout the course of the summer, Pogba was relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. Obviously there was quite a few other teams in for him, but the main architect was Real Madrid, and it's more than likely Real Madrid are going to reignite their interest in Paul Pogba in January and that, because obviously Zinedine Zidane did identify Paul Pogba as his number one priority target. But like I updated you yesterday, big news came out yesterday. It was circulating out of the media and that, and it reportedly said that Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola, who actually tried getting his client a move to Real Madrid completed throughout the course of the summer, he said that he's demanding around 600 grand a week for his client, to renew his contract at Manchester United and that. So reportedly Paul Pogba is demanding a substantial 600 grand a week, if he is to sign a new contract at Man United. So basically Raiola is forcing us into selling Paul Pogba, because it's probably likely, that we will not meet them wage demands. 600 grand a week, I think equates to around, I think it's around 31 million pounds a year and that. I did say, didn't I, before, if there was any chance of Paul Pogba signing a new contract to the club, he will demand a massive increase in his wages, and he'll demand a substantial amount basically. And I said initially 400 to 500 grand a week, but it's revealed now he wants around 600 grand a week. He wants around 600 grand a week and that. But I just can't see Man United willing to meet this, because Pogba on his current deal at the moment, he's on around 290 grand a week on his current deal. He's got 2 years left on his current deal, with an option of a further year. And as it stands at the moment, he is one of the highest paid players in that at the football club. But Paul Pogba, did confirm earlier on in the summer, don't forget, but this was back in June, that he wanted to leave Man United. He said he actually publicly admitted that he wanted to leave, and he did say he's seeking for a new challenge. This is what Paul Pogba had said. But I think recently, anyway, Man United have negotiated with Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, to discuss Paul Pogba's future and over the possibility of renewing his contract. If Paul Pogba is to maybe renew his contract at Man United, then maybe then probably Real Madrid's alternative is to probably, go in for Christian Eriksen, because obviously don't forget Christian Eriksen was also on Real Madrid's agenda. Christian Eriksen's contract expires with Tottenham at the end of the season, so probably, Real Madrid will plan to get him on a free transfer. But Real Madrid's preference is Paul Pogba over Christian Eriksen. But, Solskjaer, recently, he recently, notified Real Madrid that Paul Pogba is going nowhere. Solskjaer basically said, that he will not be sold in January and that. Don't forget, we demanded a substantial amount for him throughout the course of summer. We quoted out that we wanted up to around £180 million for him, and obviously, Real Madrid were not willing to meet this. So I did say in that aspect, that was the stumbling block of Paul Pogba leaving Manchester United to join Real Madrid. But Real Madrid themselves spent a substantial amount throughout the course of summer. They spent around £300 million on 5 players. Obviously, they did sell some players, so they did, generate, some with the money back in that. They did generate, some of the money back. But Paul Pogba has just recovered from an ankle injury anyway, which is very, very good news, because he had to withdraw from the France squad around 3 weeks ago. And in that aspect, he would have been infuriated, because we do know how much Paul Pogba, does like to represent France. But yeah, it wasn't only Real Madrid in for him. Like I said, there was talks about him making a return back to Turin and that, because let's be honest, he did have 4 good years there with Juventus, did Pogba. He hasn't mainly replicated this at Manchester United. Obviously, he allegedly said he agreed a deadline day move to PSG, but his move to PSG never materialised, due because of the Neymar saga, allegedly. Obviously, don't forget, Barcelona weren't in for him. And actually, reports emerged out about 2 or 3 weeks ago saying that Adidas, they played a big part in Pogba remaining at the football club for this summer, because Adidas wanted Paul Pogba to remain at the football club, because they believe it's better for them commercially. But I still believe now Pogba wants out of Manchester United. he wants him out Manchester United. But we have seen Paul Pogba at his best as a Man United player. Again, I don't think he was too good yesterday. You know, Paul Pogba wasn't the worst player on the pitch, but I don't think he was at his best. But we have seen him at his best, and you mainly see Paul Pogba at his best, you know, when he's freed up and that. You know, he can score goals, he can provide in that. But I still believe he wants him out at the football club. Well, like I said, you know, it hasn't only been this summer that he's been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, there was a lot of talks about, you know, Paul Pogba leaving the football club. Obviously, you know, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. And Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, you know, when Jose Mourinho left the football club. But yeah, he's still 26 years of age. He's Pogba. You know, he has still got a lot of development in him. And yeah, so it's good that he's staying at the football club at least until January at least, because I said it was imperative that we kept him anywhere, especially, you know, with our failure to get a midfielder in, you know, throughout the course of the summer. But yeah, and you know, nothing much really more to say, guys. To be quite honest, you see, yeah, another abysmal performance from Manchester United. You know, scraping through on penalties against Rochdale. It was 5-3 on penalties, you know, by the way. So obviously, you know, we scored all our penalties and that. But I just can't see us getting past Chelsea in the fourth round away from home. That's going to be, you know, a very difficult game. But like I said, you know, now games are coming up thick and fast. You know, Arsenal on Monday. Obviously, Solskjaer is going to make numerous of changes from, you know, the Rochdale game. Then obviously it's AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League. That's our second Europa League game. That'll be another particular game where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer goes more with the youth. And then I think after that, you know, Newcastle away. Newcastle away is going to be a pretty tough game. And then after Newcastle away, it's another international break. Then I think it's Liverpool, and Liverpool's going to be a very tough game. You know, I was watching some fan cams, and they believe, you know, we won't lose to Arsenal. You know, we could scrape a draw out of them. You know, don't forget Arsenal haven't won at Old Trafford for quite a lot of years. You know, they haven't won at Old Trafford in the Premier League since 2006. So that's like, 13 years ago now. Last time they beat us at Old Trafford was actually in all competitions was, you know, back in 2015 in the FA Cup under the Louis Van Gaal and Maria and that. But yeah, it's going to be a very tough game. But we want Champions League football. We need Champions League football and that. Because if you're in Champions League football, you've more chance of having more of, you know, you can attract players to the highest level. You've more chance of having a more competitive window and that. It's not always the case, but I think, you know, that's what went against us and that. So yeah. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.